everyone, I'm Lesley.
Hello.
He's my husband. We're from Rosehaven Yarn Shop. Hey, and I just want to say, thank you for all the subscribers and new subscribers. Hey, it's great to see you. And thank you for taking the time out to watch our obscure little podcast that where we chat about knitting, felting, dyeing, a little bit of everything. And today we are still in Prince Edward County. We're probably about 15 minutes from our house.
Not even.
Not even?
Like we're like 8 minutes.
And we're right on the lake. A friend of ours loaned us her cottage because she had 2 nights that no one was in it, and it's mid-September, so it's off-grid, no Wi-Fi, no electricity. It's fun. It's dark, but I don't mind it. And the water, we're right on Lake Ontario. We're at our house. We're on the river, so you don't really hear that lapping of the water. So if you hear that noise, probably can hear a little bit maybe, that's Lake Ontario saying hello. So
Milo.
Yeah, we brought the dog.
Milo's here.
But there's poison ivy all in the bush, and he of course wants to snarfle around, so we keep pulling him in because it won't really affect him a whole lot, but if you touch him after he's got poison ivy juice on him, we're gonna get
Poison ivy juice.
Sap, whatever you want to call it. It's gonna make us itchy. So what's up and what's new?
What's happening?
Let's see what is happening. We got one kid moved into an apartment in Toronto. There's been a little bit of running back and forth to get things sorted. She's working full-time at Starbucks. Quinn is taking a gap year, so he's working at 2 places, trying to get as many hours as he can before the winter comes, when everybody kind of closes down around here. And that's it. We're just doing our thing. The store's still been busy. Boy, Christmas knitting has definitely begun. It's always interesting when people start asking for hat patterns and knitting hat patterns, mitten patterns, that kind of thing. So if you got Tim's working on an illustration of the cottage for Ruth, and we'll show you some little video snippets of it.
We're sitting with this green behind us so that I can sit and have this nice view of the cottage on the other side. So I'm just working on a sketch here, which is I'm just starting to ink in some of the
line work. Yeah.
So I've got a little sketch. So I'm going to work on that while Lesley does most of the
chatting. So it's called The Nook. It's an Airbnb. It's this cute wee little cottage, and like I said, it's no electricity. There is a generator, so you can get electricity. It's got a little gas stove, and he has gas lanterns hanging from the ceiling. Milo! He's having a blast down on the beach. The beach is just behind us. There he is. Good boy. So I have picked up, for the first time since probably my 20s, cross stitching again, because I now in the store have embroidery thread and cross stitch. And I'm frustrated because I started this and now I just want to do fall Halloweeny stuff, but I'm working on ice cream, you scream, we all scream, there's ice cream.
It's getting colder and colder out, and you're working on ice cream.
I know, but I'm like not far now. I've got the whole top half of it, the instructions. I just have to put the big giant words of ice cream and the cones along the bottom. So we're getting there. But it's funny, I don't know what it is about. I love making those little X's. I'm really enjoying it, though I have to say, difference from when I was in my 20s to now, I need brighter lights and I need better magnifying. My eyes are not what they were when I was 20. And I'm working on another Scrappy Happy Hat with a whole bunch of Scrappy Happy bits of yarn. This, I kind of worked with the straight 4.5 needle, which is a US 7. Worsted weight mostly. I don't stress too much about whether the yarns, this light pink is probably actually a little bit more of an Aran weight, a little thicker, but this is probably a little thinner. But I put them together anyways and just keep my tension kind of reasonably loose. And 96 stitches is kind of great. It's the right size for most average wearing heads. And 96 is divisible by 4. So all your color work that you play with, you just start to do 4. Everything's 4s. So like 2 by 2, 2 pink, 2 of the darker pink, over and over again, and it repeats and it matches up perfectly when you get to the end. Or 4 by 4 and doing basket weaves, and I usually purl when I'm putting in the fluffy stuff, so the fluffy stuff is up the front. So if you want to play with color work, just sort of practicing, knitting hats are great because it's kind of fairly instant gratification. And all I do is get a whole big bag.
Milo, sorry, Milo, come on, hey, Milo.
Of scrappy bits of yarn all in a color theme. So I just grab all this stuff and then I just start playing and figuring out what's going to fit in where. Yeah, there's all kinds of colors I haven't even used yet. And average head is you go up 7.5 inches before you start decreasing. If you want a slumpy, slouchy hat, you go 9 inches. It's so funny with Canadians. We really are weird with my needles I do in millimeters. My length I do in inches. We measure mileage road stuff in kilometers. But if you told me to go 500 meters, I wouldn't really know what that is. But 20 feet, I would.
Anything construction-wise is essentially imperial. You're measuring in inches and you know, imperial feet and stuff, because that's the way lumber and.
But a 2 by 4 is no longer 2 inches by 4 inches, is it?
Well, no, but that's not imperial or metric thing. That's just
them scrimping a little.
That's just cheap ass lumber companies.
Yes. And I've started, because I knew we were coming here, even though it was only 2 nights and one full day.
Where is he now?
Milo! That's going to be really piercing on there.
Sorry for the whistling.
I thought I'd get some Zen knitting, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do a quince pattern. There's a new quince pattern. It's just called Chickadee Wrap by Isabell Kraemer. I'm going to put this on the ground so I don't spill my tea.
Hi,
and this, oh, of course it doesn't show up as well, but it's so pretty. And I have to, it is not going to be blue, that's just my provincial cast on,
right, come on,
in a contrasting color. And eventually when I finish 60 inches of this, I'll pick it all up and do ribbing on here, and then you have to pick up 432 stitches along the side and do ribbing up the sides. But it's this beautiful square wrap that I could see wearing it just sort of on a fall day, just when you're kind of whipping around and you just throw it around. Put a little shawl pin in it. Hey, baby. No, just, you're knocking all the pencils, dude. Hi. Yes, thank you. Oh, hold the tongue back there, puppy dog. So, yeah, not Zen knitting. And of course, I don't have a printed pattern. We have no electricity. It's on my iPad, and I...
Running out of juice?
I'm not bad. I'm using it intermittently. Kiss him. You kiss him.
All right, yes.
He loves you. So yes, not so Zen, but I really have to concentrate. I don't even know if I could do that watching TV. Every single line is different, and there's even going to be a few bobbles in it.
Get her over here. Get her.
I don't want you. Go away. I don't want you.
Get over there. Come on.
Oh, you suck. And if you've been on my Instagram, you've seen Bun and I have been having fun at the store. She's pretty funny now. And because the kids have all gone back to school and she doesn't have kids visiting her or giving her sunflower seeds, people are coming and she's sneaking up behind them and tickling their ankles with her whiskers. Hi, yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, who's a good dog? Just sit, you wiener. You even know the name Wiener. Wiener. So I also picked up another project that has intarsia. I've never done intarsia, though we have Sally Melville coming to our knit retreat in November, and she's teaching an intro to intarsia. But in the meantime, I'm learning it from good old YouTube video tutorials, and I am making a Superman sweater for somebody who's gonna get it for Christmas. I must love these people a lot to do this. I'm doing it in Barocco's Vintage, which it's a fabulous yarn. I mean, it has a wee bit of wool, but it's, you know, it's acrylic, but it's got, I think, 20% wool in it, but it's machine washable and the colors are fabulous. It's really nice. Okay, Milo, scooch down. There you go. So, oh, these chairs, Adirondacks. So it's got almost like purpley tones in it. It's amazing. So I kind of meant with a more adult, because this is for a grown man. I'm cutting out my face out of here, but that's okay. So this is just the beginning of the Superman symbol. And thank you to the Ravelry person that did this. I'm sorry, I don't remember your name, but I will find it and put it on the screen. Who created this graph, because this graph kicks butt. And it's exactly gonna be the right size for this sweater. It's like gonna be full chest. I think I worked it out that it'll be approximately 8 inches wide, which is kind of perfect. He better wear this sweater, that's all I can say. I want pictures, I want evidence. I want to see him wearing it at work.
At work, yeah.
Absolutely. I think he will. He's a pretty fun guy. So Superman, intarsia, a whole, you kind of knit it flat even though it's in the round. It's weird. You have 2 balls of the blue going out once and you kind of knit to here, and then when you get it all that, you have to turn around and come back on the back side, so you're inside and outside. I think I'm doing it right. Let's hope. So last night was our first night here, and there's nobody around. Like it's completely isolated. There's bush on either side of us. You can't hear anybody, you can't see anybody, you can't even hear the road traffic. Not that there is much, it's pretty quiet, the road that this cottage is off, and it's down a really crazy steep lane that our friend said that if it snows, you're in, like you can't get out. I mean, we have a 4-wheel drive, but I don't even know if my poor truck Roxy would make it up. 4-wheel drive or not. There was some steep slippery points and curves. So we had a lovely fire last night.
By the way, that neighbor is closer than I thought, because when I was looking, I saw a red roof, and I'm like, oh, that looks pretty far away. And then as I was looking in the bush again this morning, I realized, oh, that big white area is a house, and those are windows there. Like, you know, all of a sudden your eyes kind of focus through the trees, and I'm like, oh, that's actually quite close.
Well, but as long as there's leaves on the trees.
I don't even know that they're there, or if it's a cottage or what exactly. It's hard to say.
Thursday today. We came yesterday, so a lot of cottagers are in here. They only come weekends because it's September. Everyone's gone back to their real lives, back to real life. So anytime I go anywhere that I think there's questionable whether it's going to be cool, damp, I bring these fabulous wool throws. Oh, look, it's really pretty. It's purple. It looks really gray on there, but in the light. But before I owned a yarn shop, before I knew how to knit, I was 21 and was going backpacking through Europe from September in not coming back till late November. And my mom, who's a spinner, weaver, knitter extraordinaire, said, I'll make you something to take. And so she said, why don't I make you a poncho that you can put over your head like so. And there's also got ties on it so you can tie it closed. And then it's a blanket. It's like a 6-foot blanket. And this is all her, keep in mind this was 1991. All her hand spun that she dyed pinks and purples, and there's a little bit of blue in it, and she wove this for me. So when I went away, we were up in Ireland and Scotland, and we were taking night trains to save on sleeping in hotels and everything to save money, so you sleep on the train. And so we always sat in train cars. We met up with other people, and so there was always a couple of us, and we'd cross legs and they'd be facing me, and we'd put this wool blanket across both of us. And this thing kept us perfect temperature at all times. Everybody was cold so many times. And this was before I was a full convert to the miracle of wool. And this poncho kicked ass for all the times it was cold, wet, and it was, we were sleeping at some hostel and it was cold and your sleeping bag just wasn't warm enough and it was just that dampness, I would just pull this in and put it right next to me and then pull the sleeping bag over me and it would just lock your body heat in. Man, this thing is awesome. So I always bring this when we go anywhere that's going to be kind of damp. And Tim got the other one, the other big
this
blanket.
blue one here, which is a nice big, you know, there's little bits of sort of
Pinks
pinky,
and, yeah,
purpley bits in it. And
Mom was using up all her ends because she's insisting that she's not going to weave much longer and she's going to get rid of her loom in maybe 2 more years. So she's trying to use up all her stuff, but she's still weaving and I don't.
This makes it very
this
warm.
one I don't think has any hand spin. It might have a bit of her hand spin in. She's amazing hand spinner. I'm still such a newbie. Sorry, interruption. So yes, Tim decided to try a Scotsman version of wearing a tartan last night around the fire. It was amazing last night. There were no mosquitoes. I was shocked because there's always mosquitoes. They're always buzzing around. I always get eaten. We were out here all afternoon into the twilight and not one. There was a nice breeze, which does keep them off, which was awesome, and the temperature was kind of perfect.
It was pretty beautiful.
It was. So yeah, so Tim was wearing the blanket folded in half over top of his belt, and I was saying, well, real Scots, what they would do is take that second half. It was always much longer in Scotland, and they would flip it up over their head and around their shoulders, and the blanket's almost big. It was big enough to do that for you. Milo, come on back. So, good boy.
It was nice. It was warm. It's warm and yet,
speaking of Scotland, it's Shetland Wool Week, right? We're not there. But next year, we are totally going to do this. Rosehaven people, if you want to come, I have contacted the person to help me organize it, and we've approximately going to have 30 spots to hit Shetland Wool Week 2019, which is their 10-year anniversary. So this should be like epic. And then my mom thinks she wants to come too. I'm like, I've already got 4 or 5 people because I put it on Instagram, and yeah, no, it's gonna happen. It's totally gonna happen. Tim might come.
Shetland Islands.
Shetland Islands.
So like a week-long.
Yeah, I think it's 7 days.
Trip.
It's woolly.
Sort of touring.
Yes.
Various woolly.
And there's workshops at Shetland, but everyone, the Knit Night ladies that have talked about it, and the few people I've talked to, we definitely want to do the Wool Week and do a couple days of classes or something. But I don't want to just go there and sit inside a classroom. I want to see the shore and the water. And are there castles in Shetland? I don't know, because it's like a 7.5-hour ferry ride from Orkney, which is like the north end of Scotland. It is so far north. When I started looking on the Google map and I'm like, where the heck is it? And I'm sliding. I'm like, oh my God, it's way up there. It's way up there. Anyways, so yeah, so definitely the week, I believe, is September 28th, 2019 into October, whatever 7 days that works out to. We are going, send us an email if you're interested in being on the list. Come on, baby. Come on. There. Ooh, not quite. The email is knit@rosehavanyarn.com. Thanks, Milo. Oh, thank you.
Do you have at this point any idea of the kind of range, like the price range approximately?
Yes. Well, she told me what it cost to go this year, because their tour literally just left 2 days ago. So we're talking Canadian dollars. A person who's willing to share a room was almost was $3,680-ish, but that includes your flight, your accommodations, your meals, 90% of them. There's a few meals that you're kind of open to do your own thing. Flight accommodations, meals. Yeah, and she was even going to set us up with like a bus to get us to the airport from Belleville, because we're like 2.5 hours from Toronto, or wherever we group up from, if there's more people. But yeah, so people from Toronto, Peterborough, like everybody can hook into this. And I know some people go early because they want to see and do things ahead of time, maybe even in Edinburgh. Because I think you fly into Edinburgh, and like I would think if you're going to fly in Edinburgh, like let's go see Edinburgh Castle while we're there and before we hit over. So we can tweak the whole week to whoever we want. So that is the plan. Finally, I'm going to start doing a bit of traveling. We don't go anywhere too often because we live here. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, this is the only vacation we've had this year, and it's
Yep.
like 5 minutes from our house. Pretty nice.
And it's 2 nights. It's just 2 nights. We went into Toronto to our daughters to help move her new bed in, and it was a Wednesday in Toronto. It was really late. It was like 11 o'clock at night, so I called a couple hotels. Everybody's booked. And then I called more. I called over a dozen. Everybody was booked solid. It's Toronto. It's a massive city. What the hell? It was Wednesday night. But the TIFF was going on, which I always think is a downtown thing, but like up by the airport, everything was booked. TIFF is the Toronto International Film Festival, so Toronto kind of gets inundated with people from all over the world.
Oh boy.
He's right there.
Also, we were looking at hotels under $200.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there
So all
were.
we wanted to do is sleep and get up and go. So we ended up leaving.
We just drove home.
We drove home. We listened to podcasts, man. Podcasts, if they're good, I ended up driving, which I'm the wimp and always falling. I'm always in bed by 10:30, 11. I was like enthralled with what we were listening to. Right, and we didn't get home till 2:30 in the morning? 2:30? I don't know. It was the podcast from the prison. What was
Ear
it?
Hustle.
Ear Hustle. What prison was it?
San Quentin.
San Quentin. Oh, amazing. It was amazing. And they were talking to a few of the guys on death row, just kind of about their daily life. Like, not really, it wasn't sensationalizing what they did or talking about what their crimes were. I mean, basically everyone in San Quentin, because it's maximum plus death row, have killed and have murdered. It's all comes down to murder in some capacity.
Whoa.
Well, that's what the guy was actually saying, because I was listening. He might have been sleeping a little. The nice thing about driving at that time of night, traffic is fabulous. And there's no weather, so I didn't have to worry about any of that. It's like just perfect.
Sorry about this.
Hello. I can hear his collar. Oh, there he is. He's on the,
He's on the log.
climbing on the logs, puppy dog. Sorry, too many interruptions. Is there anything else kind of...
We were at
Oh, yeah.
we were at Twist in Quebec.
That's Montreal.
We were at Twist and
Not Montreal, sorry. Saint Andre Avelin near Montebello, Quebec.
right. This was about a month ago.
August 18th.
And Diane came along. Diane.
Yes. Hi, Diane.
What's Diane's last name?
I don't know. She's Bags by Diane.
Maybe
on
Diane
Etsy.
is her last name, and her first name is Bags by. Bags by Diane. And she was giving us these bags, so
Zimmerman?
these
I
knitting
can't
bags.
remember.
So,
We
you know,
were
there's this
fighting over
great
it.
Walking Dead knitting bag with a little
And I got one
handle
too, which I totally didn't.
handmade
bring.
by Diane, and
And she puts the little maple candies in it.
yeah, and it's got a, they're
The
really
inside material.
really nicely made.
Yeah.
And so there's my tie that I will never finish. I am the 7-time winner of the slowest knitter award.
Milo,
There should be
get
such
over here.
an award. It'd be great.
So we
I
went
agree.
away we got here at 3 yesterday. We're leaving tomorrow. I have to be at work to open the shop at 10. So not even 48 hours. How many knitting projects did I bring? I've got 1, 2, and the cross stitch. 4, 5. Yeah, because I didn't even show you all the knitting projects I brought. Oh, and I'm wearing my Flax sweater. which is actually what I'm using for the Superman sweater, except I didn't put the garter stitch in this. I just kept it basic because it's awesome. They're Tin Can Knits flax sweater, super basic, lovely crew neck. It fits great. This is the one I did carrying lace and mohair together. It was Kidsilk Haze, carried with a Juniper Moon's Findlay lace, and I did it with a regular old 4.5 needle and worsted weight, but it's not worsted weight, so it's just kind of nice and open. Weirdly though, sorry, I'm gonna stick my arm. Whack. I made these sleeves down to here, but for some reason, because probably I do this all the time, they don't, I mean, they'll stretch back down and the cuffs have all stretched out, but I love this. And this is perfect for this kind of coolness, but I get hot. So I ended up actually going to bed wearing this last night, but I took it off in the middle of the night because I got hot. And I hear Leah texting me. More drama. More drama. And I also brought my Scrappy. I love Scrappy things because I have so many balls. My yarn cupboard at home is nothing but little nuggets of yarn, like little half balls. I don't have these beautiful backdrops of all these skeins of yarn like people. Of course, that's all in my store. But I have all these scrappy bits. So I'm playing with this Scrappy bias shawl, and it's worsted weight, and all you're doing is increasing on one end every other row, and you're just using up scads of yarn. And this needle doesn't have a size on it, but it looks like it's probably a 5 or a 5.5. It's crazy, actually. I'm starting to be able to do that now. Look at yarn and look at wool and go, yeah, that's a blah, blah, blah. But of course, you know, I did a little increase on the wrong side right here. No one will notice when it's wrapped around my neck. It's all fine. And I'm starting, this was a hat I started ages ago, but I just have to put some pom-poms on it. Another Scrappy Happy Hat. You like that name, Scrappy Happy?
Scrappy Happy?
Scrappy Happy. It's actually cottons and stuff, but it's jazzy. And what I do, when I put it aside, I tuck in the yarn that I originally picked out.
That's what you
into
do
the hat
with your Scrappy Happy
yarn.
You Scrappy Happy do?
Yes, Scrappy Happy do. And yeah, so that way eventually I'll make my lovely crocheted curls or pom-poms or what have you. So yeah, so flax sweater, recap sweaters. This is the Jessamin, which is Quince. Now, I brought this along because this is actually another project I have to fix. You picked up all the stitches along the front for this cardigan to make the band, and I picked up too many stitches on one side. So the one side kept hanging way lower than the other side. So I finally ripped it out. So now I gotta pick up again and be more correct with how many stitches I pick up per side, so the thing actually hangs properly. The Quince pattern, of course, is not these colors, Jessamin. It's using Kestrel, which is a worsted weight linen. So I did Noro with some Arcania yarn for some jazzy bits on the end because I thought it looked kind of fun. Bright in colors, bright and colorful, just the way I like it. And then this little cardigan, now that it's cooling down, I might actually add the rest of the sleeve on. I don't know. But it's kind of asymmetrical, so the ends don't match up at the bottom. And this fabric here, you're supposed to put inside this sleeve sort of the same way, so you have that little edge, and then you put the sleeve in for 3/4, and then you put the next piece of sleeve in so it goes all the way down to your wrist. I kept it at short sleeves because I finished it in the spring and it was hot already. And this is all hand-dyed yarns. I had so much yarn left over from the Stephen West Specklin Pop that all these yarns are from that. You only needed to add one more skein of the green, which was a hand-dyed, and it's actually sparkly, but you probably can't see that. And now I gotta dye more yarn because a few people have seen it at the store and they want it. The name of the sweater is 1 or 3 cardigan, or no, I think it's 3 or 1 cardigan. Yeah, 3 or 1 cardigan. Can't remember who it's by, but I will put it on the bottom. So,
well, we'll put it in the show notes because
okay, we don't want to
Tim
edit
is
this.
often too lazy to add a whole bunch of titles.
Editing's hard. It takes up a lot of time.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's
That
we've got our
plus lazy.
paying jobs that need to be taken care of first. So, yeah. Love the sound of the water. I heard it a little bit last night from the windows. I wish we could hear the water at our house, but the river doesn't really move. It's pretty quiet and still. So next spring, we are going to do something new and exciting at our house. Tim and I are putting in a dock, and we are going to start renting kayaks and paddle boards from our property on the river. Because the river...
a secret. You're not supposed to tell anybody that. That's
What? Well, no, it's not. You got to start letting people know.
No, it's a secret.
So if you're coming to Prince Edward County, you can come and kayak our Black River, because the wildlife out there is amazing. It's so different from a lake. You'll see so many more animals down by the shorelines and stuff. And there's actually, if you go the one way, there's kind of like rocky beaches and stuff that you can go swimming and fishing.
Go right out onto Lake Ontario, or
yeah.
you can go up the river towards Milford. It kind of winds around, and there's herons and
green herons,
muskrat, and green herons, blue herons, and there's
coyotes sometimes.
Piles of birds out there.
Yeah, tons of ducks, especially in the spring.
Woodpeckers.
Yeah,
all that
and the
kind
terns,
of stuff.
and we've even seen bald eagles. Like it's pretty cool watching them. Sometimes just sitting down by our barn by the shoreline watching the terns, where they do that hovering thing and then they hit the water and bring up these giant fish. We've seen some crazy action on that river with some of those birds fishing. Oh yeah, and the time when I threw that crazy frog. I don't even know if I want to tell that story.
It's such a horrible story. We had caught a mouse, and it was like, gotta get rid of this mouse, and so Lesley threw him into the river, and the river at certain points is just duckweed, and so she
like
throws it
scampering on the duckweed.
So it's like it doesn't even hit sink, it hits the water and the duckweed and lily pads and stuff like that, and goes smack, and
it goes scamper up in the air, and this mouth goes whomp, and it just, I was like, ah! This thing just chomped and took the little mouse out, because it was a little smaller. It was a young mouse, and I was just like, what the hell is that? Because the river, you know, we have frogs, and there's an occasional bullfrog, which are kind of big, but I was like, frogs eat mice now? And I'm like, I wasn't even sure what it was.
Eat
I was
mice
just
now?
like,
what's next?
It was just these giant greenish lips going, whack. I'm like, holy jeez. So, and then the water kind of went rubble, 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 and then these two eyes poke up, and I'm like, good lord, that is a massive frog. I just quietly backed away. The other mouse, she got away. I mean, there was two mice. One was in our blue box, and one was caught in the live trap. I hate this time of year with mice. Anyways, we don't like them in the squish traps, so we could do the live traps and toss them in the river, and apparently freed frogs. Ugh, disgusting. Yeah.
Well, you know, it's terrible, but when you open up your utensil drawer and it's full of mouse poop, they gots to go.
Yuck. Yeah. It's true. Anyways, so what else? Oh, I got in touch with Amy Oxford. She's the creator of the Oxford punch needle. So
Milo.
She and I, he's right there. I can just see his little volume.
Milo, come on, get out of the bush. Come on.
You can't see the dog, but
Man,
you can see
poison ivy.
The trees doing this because his tail's going and knocking the bushes. Milo, come on, get out of it. So Amy Oxford and I have been emailing back and forth, and we are pretty sure we're this close to getting the Oxford punch needle in the shop to sell, which is really cool. If you see any videos, it's like rug cooking, but so fast and so simple. And man, I just think of now that I've gotten into cross stitch, I should not try any more crafts because I have too many hobbies. Anyway, so the punch needle hopefully we'll have in the shop. talk to one of my rug cooking friends, and Louise is gonna teach me and teach a class, and we're gonna have classes on it. It's really cool. So that's exciting. And I've got more wrist rulers coming. The wrist ruler? Yeah, wrist ruler. And they came up with a new one on the wrist ruler. It's the brioche pattern sequence. So I got some brioche ones coming too. I think it's going to be about 3 or 4 weeks before we get them, but I'll have them for the Woodstock show. We will be at Woodstock, Tim and I, October 13th, I think, but we'll be chatting to you before then. Milo? You must be so sick of hearing Milo. Let's go. There he is. You better sleep well tonight, mister. It's like having a baby, isn't it? And I got those new counting rulers. Well, it's not a counting, it's not a ruler. It's the little digital counters that are a ring on your finger in all these bright colors, and you tap them. I got those coming. The Cole magazine's coming. The Making Black and White magazine is coming, which I think we're allowed to sell as of October 26th, so we should have that shortly. And if you want me to mail it to you, send me an email, knit at Rosehaven Yarn, and I can let you know when they come in and we can mail them to you. I know I've got one friend up in the Yukon, and she's getting hers as soon as it comes in, because they do come in a few days ahead of that date. So as soon as I have them, I will ship them. I just can't sell them in the store, technically. And pom-poms coming out next month, the next pom-pom. Haven't seen anything of that yet, but I did see the inside of the Making magazine. It's good. It's got some good stuff. This embroidery and cross stitch, I want to try doing that embroidery, what do they call it? The embroidery.
You're looking at me.
Yeah, because
I know the answer. Wait, ask me.
Well, I'm always thinking of your jeans. I wish I should do it on your jeans, but I don't think you'd appreciate it. It's where you can see the mending. Yeah, bedazzling. With the ripped knees and stuff. I don't have any ripped clothes. I need something to mend. I hate mending. Don't whine, Milo.
You can pick them up.
Come here. Come over here. So, what else have I got? I've been doing a lot of ordering. As soon as I get 3 or 4 days at home in my office, I start ordering things and start shopping. It's kind of fun. Oh, and my bluebrick yarn apparently shipped. I got the email this morning. It shipped, so today's Thursday. Might be there tomorrow because it's only coming from Burlington. Probably Monday. I've got more Zen garden yarn coming in 2 weeks. All the Surdars coming, so that one's the Regia sock yarns are coming. We've got more Opal sock yarns coming. Oh, fall's awesome. Lots of goodies. Filling up the store. Oh, and I have clothing coming back. Stop laughing at me.
I'm not making fun of you. I just keep thinking, all right, and then that wraps it up, and then but that's
Leopard and Roses clothes. Leopard and Roses clothing from British Columbia, Canada. That line is coming. We'll have it in the store shortly. It's a lot of interesting asymmetrical colors and appliques. It's kind of cool clothing. I had it years ago.
Get up here. Come on, get up over here.
Daddy.
Oh, you're not listening.
You.
Come on, you sit. Come on, get up.
He's skinnier. You can fit beside him.
Look at him. I try to leave space and he's still aiming for my... No, what the...
But you. Spoiled
Stop licking
dog.
me. Stop licking me.
Okay, the dog didn't come with us on Wednesday.
Oh my God.
Tim went and got him this morning because we were like, oh, Milo would so enjoy this. He's such a pain in the butt. Yeah, you yawn. Oh, there you go. Nice. And yes, and I have Cut Loose clothing coming back, but we're calling it, we're getting our own labels sewn into the back. So we won't say Cut Loose anymore. It's going to say Bad Girls.
Better not be covered in poison ivy.
Prince Edward County. So it's actually clothing, it's going to say Prince Edward County on it, which is cool. Vacation clothes.
Go and love her.
Oh. Hi. No, just sit still.
Ugh.
So, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to the blather and the 1,000,001. Milo, get over here. Milo, Milo, Milo. Yes, you're a wiener dog. Getting old now. Well, you're not. You're kind of middle-aged. You're kind of my age, so we're not old, are we? You're 7 now. So thanks for watching. Thanks for watching Tim draw.
How exciting is that?
Hopefully we won't have poison ivy from the dog being in the bushes and we won't be itching. Enjoy your day. Enjoy the fall. It's fall equinox on Saturday. No, equinox is when everything's equal. That's hence the name equinox. So yeah, light and dark, equal timing, and then it's just gonna get darker faster. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Here's where we're at.
Oh.
And then that's as far as I've gotten.
Nice.
The little cottage. But I'm gonna continue working on it.
Okay. Thanks for hanging out with us. Say bye, Milo.
Bye, Milo.
Bye.